was good. All right. Hi, I'm Erin, and I write poetry and fantasy fiction.
And I'm Kaylee, and I write fantasy and sci-fi fiction.
And today we're going to be talking about the things we think we would never write. So, Kaylee, what do you think you would never write?
What do I think I would never write? I don't know. I think I'm open to a lot of different kinds of things, and I do like a lot of different kinds of genres.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd asked me this when I was in high school, I would have said never romance, because I used to be a big romance hater. Big hating on the romance. I used to read like anti-Twilight reviews on Goodreads for fun, and that was how I was not like the other girls. But I'm past that now. I'm better. I've recovered.
Good.
So now I'm like, maybe, I'm not saying I would never write a romance, but probably not strictly. I probably wouldn't ever write a strict romance or like a rom-com. I don't think I would ever write like a slasher horror or a detective thriller, because I like things with mystery and with action, and even sometimes things with a little bit of horror, but I want it to be like part of something else. And I'm not really a detective mystery type of person. So those are some like genres of books that I would never write. How about you?
Yeah, genre-wise, not genre. Wow, now that we're talking about, I think similarly like horror, like slasher stuff, I'm not gonna write that. I don't think I would ever write a story that was just a romance. I think I don't mind the idea of there being some like character relationships or whatever in a story, but that's not what I'm writing a story for necessarily. I don't know, because I don't like to read that all the time. So I don't, and it's like, I don't know, I need there to be other things going on, I guess, for, I guess, like an idea or something like that to feel worthwhile enough. Yeah, I mean, like, I've dipped my toe in on like a thriller before, but I wrote that a lot in like college when I was getting feedback, and the feedback a lot of people told me was like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. And I was just like, oh no, that's not
like, you're supposed to be frightened.
Right. So I'm just like, I don't know if I am interested enough in those genres to try to do that a little bit more intensely, I guess. I don't know. I like my unrealistic sci-fi fantasy world, and I don't do as much sci-fi, but I think the main things I've written have been like fantasy and magical realism. And so I think I'd probably like to branch out from those, but as far as like the ideas that I tend to have, they kind of stay in those.
Where would you branch out to if you branch out from fantasy and magical realism?
Ooh, well, I don't know. I think it feels kind of like a cop-out to say sci-fi because it's so similar, but I think it's really intimidating because I think you have to be so much more like thoughtful about like kind of scientific things, and I tend to be like, magic, deal with it.
Yeah, that is one thing with, but sometimes I don't know, I respect a sci-fi book that just says technobabble, and you're like, all right, yeah, but they just go full, they just don't expect it to be real. But I understand that a big part of some types of sci-fi is for the science to be believable, and that is a huge hurdle, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I would try a thriller again. I don't know. I found that I like them more, like as an adult, kind of like you're talking about like things you liked. I was like, I don't want anything like remotely creepy or scary, and now I'm like, I want to be a little bit of suspense. So I don't know. Maybe I'd try it again, but not anytime soon.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. And like with me for horror, like I do like Annihilation, which I read somewhat recently, is like kind of horror-y, but it's more like sci-fi and like kind of horror. And I would do that, but I don't like slasher. Like I don't read books that are like the book equivalent of like Saw, and I've never seen Saw, so I wouldn't write that because I don't read that. But yeah, as I've gotten older, I'm more okay with a little creepy, a little spooky.
Yeah. Just keep you on the edge of your seat a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any formats of stories that you would never write?
Okay. I think the only one that I think I would never write is probably like a play, like a drama. The other ones, like the other kind of just narrative things, like I've tried screenplays, I've tried novels, and like that's fine, and I could see like myself doing things that are like kind of similar to that, but yeah, I've never thought of like wanting to do one where you had to like think of like people exiting at a certain time, and then like with the stage directions I know it's similar to a screenplay, but to me, like in a play, like when it's on a stage just like right there in front of you, like I've never felt compelled to do that, and I don't think that it is enticing enough to me to like, I guess, learn that whole format. I guess I don't know, that's kind of how I feel about it.
That makes sense. I don't know that I don't think I have any interest in really writing a play either. I feel like the types of stories that work well for plays tend to be more like slice of life or comedy or drama. And yeah, I don't think I've seen speculative fiction in plays. No. People in the comments who might know more than me, if you do know of speculative fiction plays, like fantasy or sci-fi plays, feel free to tell me I'm completely wrong. But I've never seen that, and I can't imagine trying to write. I think I would have a hard time trying to constrain it to what's possible with like stage stuff. As far as other types of formats, for me, I have written short stories before. I don't think I'm particularly good at short stories, and I don't like them. And I think I don't like them. But like I feel like they tend to be like, when I write a short story, it tends to feel like it is a scene in a book and not be like a short story. So I haven't figured out what the structure is for a short story that will like, to make it feel like it's its thing and not just a small piece of a big thing. But I heard someone in a podcast randomly one time. It was a Crit RPG podcast, which is a podcast that talks about lit RPGs. I don't remember who said it, but it was some author that they were interviewing who said like, short stories are like good exercises, like good practice, or like doing scales for the piano or something. So I could see that, but for fun, it's not as much for me. But I'm really open to writing a different kind. Like I would, like there's not like a bunch of formats that are like odious to me, I guess. Like I would write a video game or a TV show or a comic book. Like I think all of those sound like super fun to do. But yeah, those are also not things I'm pursuing because they're like way more complicated, and they require like a team of people to finish them, really. Yeah.
I hadn't considered things like that. I'm gonna throw a video game in there. I don't want to.
You wouldn't
want to touch that.
It's really complicated.
Yeah. So
that's so fair.
Yeah, that's a good example. I wasn't digging that deep. That's great. Cool. All right, Kaylee, let's talk about tropes.
All right.
What tropes do you think you would never write?
Okay, tropes I would never write. This is probably kind of a cop-out because I've already said I'm not a huge romance person. There's a lot of romance tropes that I am not a huge fan of. Like, there's only one bed. That's not for me. Other tropes I'm not a huge fan of. I don't know if this is a trope, but maybe like, I guess it's a trope, like body swapping. Body swapping freaks me out. That's the only reason. I don't have a good, like, there's nothing wrong with it as a thing to explore in fiction, but I just am not a fan. Freaky Friday scared me as a kid. I was like, this is something deeply wrong here. Yeah, I guess is the point. But anyway, so yeah, that kind of, I don't really like that as a trope. I don't really like the resurrection trope. This is a little niche to like anime and lit RPGs, but the depressed office worker gets hit by a bus and reincarnated as a knight in a fantasy world. Those are not for me, because I would rather just read about the people in the fantasy world than to read about a person from our world trying to figure out how to live in the fantasy world. Though my husband has one of those that he really likes. I don't know if she's reincarnated, but she's The Wandering Inn, where she is the name of the book series, and the main character's from Earth and gets stuck in a fantasy world that he's like, you should read it. So maybe one day I will, but I don't think, even if I read it, I don't think I would ever write that, because it's not really for me.
So do you feel like Narnia is sad when they come back out of Narnia? Because you're just like, oh no.
Okay, that's...
Or is that not...
No, that's for Narnia is kind of that. That's a good point.
But they don't get like reincarnated.
That's true, they don't die.
But it is just interesting to be like, you're taking the real world people and putting them in the fantasy setting.
Yeah, that's true, and I do like Narnia. So maybe I don't holistically dislike this trope. But something about the way Narnia does it,
it's different. They still have to work for it a little bit. I feel like with the reincarnation, it's like they don't have to do anything.
You're automatically it's like you're automatically the prince or the wizard or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Just like It's like D&D. It's like you level up 10 times at once.
Yeah, which is kind of the point of some of those stories.
Yeah.
But it's not my thing.
Yeah. Gotcha.
How about you? What are some tropes you'd never write?
I mean, yeah, there are definitely some romance tropes I would stay away from. Just because they feel a little like, I mean, I don't want to be this person, but there are so many things that just feel so overdone and they feel so predictable. And I think like my rule for tropes in general is just like, if I don't think I would enjoy reading it, or if I think I could see it coming, like, because it has been done before, not because of like, you know, I mean, a lot of things in a story, if you think about it hard enough, you can predict most things probably, but like the ones where it's like, it's super predictable. And like, if it just feels a little like overdone, I don't like it. Like, I can't handle a love triangle anymore. I think I'm over those. I'm like, we had our, you know, what was that? Like in the 2010s, all the dystopian love triangle things. I'm like, okay, I feel like we exhausted that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if this counts as a trope, but like vampires, I feel no inclination toward that. I'm like, we should have quit with Dracula. That was good.
You're like, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't never read that if it seemed like somebody like had a good, like fresh kind of twist on it, but I'm not going to try to be that person, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then you kind of brought this up, so I guess I'll talk about it a little bit, about like talking animals or whatever.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I don't mind talking animals in a story. Again, Narnia.
yeah, that's true.
Great. But and people think I'm like wrong for this, so you know, it's fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and confess it now. But like, stories where the main characters are animals, or like where all the characters are just animals that can talk and act like people, I have no... I don't really have a lot of interest. No, not really.
Okay,
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he was a cool little mouse, but
he's a
not,
mouse.
Not my. Yeah, Stuart Little. Who cares?
Red
kidding.
Ball.
I don't remember. Well, I don't know about that.
It's okay. They're all animals.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
then yeah, maybe I wouldn't have a good time.
Warrior cats.
Oh no, yeah, I never understood. Everybody was so into that, and then Gahul, like the owls.
Oh yeah, I
They
never
were,
read
it's
that
like
one.
people were reading those left and right, and I was just like, why?
Like, what if we had the same story but with just people?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand. I don't agree with
ride
you, but I
giant
understand.
owls. See, that would be good.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
I can respect that. I can respect that. Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know if there's any like magical creatures that I'm like super opposed to. I think I'm down with all of them in the right context.
Mm-hmm.
In the right context, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably some that I'm. Oh well, I don't know. I was gonna say gnomes. Like, what is a gnome? Like, what do they belong? I don't know. Specifically gnomes. Well, I love gnomes. I think they're great. I love them in Gravity Falls. The little gnomes that stack up on. But I don't know if I'd ever like what. Who are they? What do they do? You know, is there enough of a difference between a gnome and a goblin? And everyone who plays D&D right now would be so mad at me for saying that. But I don't know. Anyway, nothing against gnomes.
More fodder for the comments.
Yeah, nothing against gnomes.
But
I'm not sure what role they would have in a story.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So, yeah.
With that,
if you disagree with us,
let us know.
And we will be like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you don't appreciate the gnome slander, or you think I'm heartless because of the animal thing, we want to know.
Yeah. Are there any plot structures, types of plots that you would never write?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of repeat a little bit of what I said for the last one, as far as like things that I feel like I'm a little tired of seeing, so I probably wouldn't try to follow it super closely, like the hero's journey. I love Star Wars. I love all those things. But as far as like purposefully trying to write using that type of structure, I don't know that I would do that. I think I've dabbled with that a little bit, and then found out that there were other options, and I was like, oh, I think I like that better. I think I also don't tend to like start with a plot structure in mind. It's just kind of a story, but I think that might also kind of be a genre thing. Like, I haven't heard of very many fantasy stories that aren't just kind of like linear, normal, I guess. But also I'm not like super widely read. But what was the other thing? Oh, flashbacks. I like a flashback or two, or like even if flashbacks are prevalent in a story, but if most of the story is like told through flashback, or if that's like the overall context, not as much a fan of that, I guess. It's like a little bit for context, that's fine, but not like that being the point. Yeah.
Like if it's like when the story starts with like, I remember when I went on my first adventure.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the whole story.
Yeah, or like the record scratch. Like, I bet you wonder how
Oh,
I got it.
I love that.
I like it because a lot of the times it's funny and you are kind of like, how did you get there? Like that one Drake and Josh episode where he's talking about the pop. Do you know about that?
No,
Okay, never mind.
I love Drake and Josh. I was thinking about Megamind. Did you ever see Megamind?
I've actually never seen
Okay,
that.
well, we've got two examples then. But, yeah. That's fair not writing to write that, though. Because I can see, I feel like you have to be really good at comedy to pull something so blatant off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
be hard.
Yeah, I'm like, and yeah, comedy as itself a genre. Maybe I should have said that earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily something that I'm like drawn to, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I also like saying the whole like, oh, I would never write it. I'm like, watch me write these.
I know.
Watch me try it later.
Yeah. Just things we think right now.
Yeah.
Everything's subject to change. That's right. If you asked me this question when I was 14, romance,
right.
I would say never. I would have been in 14-year-old me, there would be nary a kiss in anything. No one would feel any emotions or any love for any other person.
It's just the most stoic story.
It's all action and drama.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
So maybe we'll change our minds.
Maybe. What about you on the plot structure?
Plot structures. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of episodic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing a lot of research on like serial fiction lately, which I think is fine, and like I do watch a lot of TV, and sometimes those are like very episodic. But I want everything to have an overarching narrative. I'm not a huge fan of just there are some book series and some TV shows where it's like each book is totally self-contained and there's nothing to like go on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a standalone, that's that makes sense. But in a series, I want all the books. I want there to be a thread of something I want to see resolved by the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So like Law and Order, where they're all totally separate. That's not really for me. I want them to be like, there to be an overarching thing.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I don't think I would write, I'm not necessarily opposed to this in principle, I just don't think I would write it, would be it was all a dream.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that's super hard to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when people do that in stories, people are like, oh, that cheapened everything. I don't think it always has to cheapen everything, but I don't know that I would, I feel like it's really hard to do it and not cheapen things. And so I don't know that I would write that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those would be mine.
Yeah. All right. So those are all the categories that we were going to talk about. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed listening to us talk about the things we think we would never write. If you write and you have similar answers or something you think you don't, see yourself writing in the future, feel free to let us know. We'd love to read about that.
So, adios.
Yeah. Until next time.